Welcome guys to a new video, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to pass a Network Plus exam. Now I took this test of February of this year, and a lot of the terms are still fresh on my mind, and I had to take a lot of notes to study because I wanted to go into this test feeling confident. So before I get into what to expect on this exam, I just want to say you're either one of these two people. You're either someone who got their A plus and now they're ready to take some networking. Or maybe you're two, someone who did self-studies. You already understand A plus concepts, and now you want to use networking maybe for getting a job. Just know that both are fair and a good way to go, and that networking is in almost every tech industry, and you will most likely run into networking, so it's a good thing to know. And showing on your resume that you understand network foundations might land you a job. So now, what to expect on the Network Plus exam? I would say the first thing to study and know is the 7-layer OSI model. These are layers that basically break up networking as a whole, and they're really important to know. The second thing I would learn is port numbers. Almost every CompTIA exam, you need to know a couple port numbers. Well, networking, you need to know a bunch, just in case. You might get one small question, or you might even get a performance-based question that's on a whole bunch of different ports. So make sure you study your port numbers. The next thing I would learn are network topologies. You need to learn about PAN, CAN, MAN, LAN. Learn about all these different types of networks and what they mean. Along with that, you need to learn what a peer-to-peer network is. What's a mesh network? Understand these things because you will be quizzed on them on the exam. After studying the topologies, I would say learn about the different types of cable and wireless standards. These are another huge thing that might end up biting you in the butt if you don't study for and you go into this test. So know the different cable and the different wireless standards. That's huge. There's a lot more you need to study for in this exam, and just make sure that you understand things of like different layer switches. Know that there's 3 different layers of firewalls you can have in a network, and really know IP addresses. I got told before I took this test that there might be subnetting, and I know that's really into CCNA and higher. I studied for it, I felt confident with it, and luckily I didn't have one subnetting question. So even with that, still study. You may get one question with subnetting, know what CIDR notation is, and really just know these things because they're going to help you either way for your future. So that's a couple tips I want to give you guys. I'm now going to switch over to my computer and I'm going to go over some notes that I still have and go over some concepts with you guys. Thank you and good luck on your exam. Welcome to the Network Plus study guide, and before I get started, I just want to tell you guys that I used Mike Meyers' material to study. You can find his information on Udemy. I think his course is currently on sale for 20 bucks. You can also use Professor Messer. He's on YouTube and all his sources are free. Before I get into the study guide, I just want to say that I have a lot of missing terms, so please don't solely use this resource to study. You need to use flashcards and a lot of other things to really feel grounded. So getting started in the Network Plus study guide, I start off here with the OSI model, which is the 7 layers. Your first layer is going to be the physical layer, also known as the bits layer. This is your physical cabling as well as connectors. It's basically establishing how the signal is going to cross over with the wire. The physical components of this layer can be repeater, a modem, hubs, and etc. The protocols used for this layer are DSL, cable, and fiber. The second layer is data link. This is going to be the frames layer. This includes your network card and your MAC address. Your network card is in every device that can connect to any type of Wi-Fi, and then your MAC address is permanently burned into every electronic device and is unique. The physical components for this layer are going to be switches, tokens, again the network card, and essentially this layer, layer 2, is known as the flow of data. The protocols for layer 2 are ARP, PPP, and etc. Going on to layer 3 is going to be the network layer, or also the packet layer. This is where different protocols are used for connecting networks together. The physical components of this layer will be router, a layer 3 switch, NAT, PAT, protocols such as IP, IPsec, your IPv4 or IPv6, and more protocols are used in this layer. Layer 4 is a transport layer, also known as a segment layer. This is going to deal with TCP and UDP. So TCP is connection oriented and UDP is connectionless. So like video streaming, things where packets might be lost, that's where UDP is used. Things where every packet needs to be oriented and needs to go and flow correctly is going to be TCP. Most of the internet and applications you use are going to be TCP. Again, it's only used with UDP when you don't really care about the essence of packets and if some get lost or don't transmit correctly. The fifth layer is a session layer. This is where a request is sent and then a response is given. The protocols for this one are NFS, SQL, NetBIOS, and etc. Moving on to the sixth layer is presentation. This is going to deal with the data encryption. So you have TSL, SSL, and then here are some other formats that you can see with presentation. I will say, besides TCP and UDP, make sure you understand TSL. That's a really big one for the exam. Lastly, you got layer 7, which is the application layer. This deals with HTTP, FTP, and DNS. Make sure you can say each protocol along with each port number for the exam. So again, no HTTP, that's unencrypted, right? That's going to be port 80. Make sure you know each of these for the exam. I put a little phrase here that's been used a lot to remember each layer name, and that's please don't never throw sausage pizza away. If you kind of remember this phrase, you can say it in your head as you're taking the exam, just in case you forget one of the layers. I also put, which I think is really important, that the firewalls can be through layer 3 and 4, but also layer 7 at the application layer. Further down, I have some network topologies. I have like the star network topology. This is probably the most common one you'll see in the workplace. This is where a switch is in the middle with a spoke, and basically all devices are connected into that switch. Some other topologies we have the ring system right here. We have the bus. This used to be used, but is not really popular anymore just because everything is connected on this one line. So if there's an interruption anywhere on this one line, then there's going to be some computers that are disconnected and won't work on the network. Going a little further, we run into the mesh type of network. This will be on the exam. I'm sure they'll ask you what is the best type of network you can set up. If they have mesh as an option, always put it as the most expensive and the best option you can pick. And then you also have a hybrid, which is basically these pre-mentioned ones. They're just combined together. Here are some network types. You have peer-to-peer. An example of this could be your friend brings over his laptop and then you have yours. Basically, you run an Ethernet port, one into your laptop, one into his, and you share files over the wire. This would be something that's like peer-to-peer. And peer-to-peer can also be clients and servers. Going a little further down, you have networks like LAN, MAN, WAN. So the internet would be a WAN network. A LAN is going to be a small network. That's all Ethernet cables, nothing wireless. If you want the wireless with the LAN, that's going to be right here. And it uses 802.11 technologies. There's the PAN. There's the CAN. CAN is a campus area network or corporate area network. I have some network storage types like NAS and SAN. Make sure you know these for the exam. Also know your virtual networks, know what a vSwitch is, know the hypervisor, why it's so important when you're trying to run anything virtual. I have different provider links here that you can kind of read through. I also put the different copper cable categories, so like the difference from Cat 3 to say Cat 6. what are the megabytes difference and what's the range difference. I put the fiber types. You need to know this as well. Make sure you write these down and they stick in your head. Lastly, for the standards, I put the wireless standards. So you really need to get these down. I would recommend making flashcards. Here's the RJ45 cable type connectors. This is the order that you need to have them in. You might get a performance-based question to put the correct wires in, so really study these both. And then I just have more information. Of course, I put ports in here so you can study for all the different port numbers. And then I think lastly, I just ended with the different type of antennas. Make sure you know this as well. There might be another performance-based question you get dealing with which type of antennas you're going to be using, so make sure you know that. And that's about it, guys. So I hope this study guide helps you. Let me know how your exam goes, and I hope this video has helped you out. Good luck on your exam.